any build that you have right now currently in your inventory, grab it and throw it out the window, because with the nerfs and buffs that are getting introduced into the game, you are now going to have to work your way to a brand new build. But luckily for you guys don't have to worry about anything, because I'm going to share with you guys the best build you could possibly have before the update. And now's the time to start farming for this gear and getting ready for the update. Esiva, this is LaserBolt, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys the best build you could possibly have for the update that's coming out in May. Now, you're probably wondering, is like, Laser, are you in the future? How do you know these things? Well, I wanted to share with this build with you guys, because any build that you currently have right now, it will be effective for only a matter of 2 to 3 weeks. After 2 to 3 weeks, you could throw that build out the window, because some of the talents that you currently have on your builds, like for example, you have an AR build, a LMG build, a max DPS build, and all those builds that you've seen on YouTube, all of those builds are going to go out the window and they will no longer be viable. And you're probably wondering, why is that so? Well, the reason that that's going to be happening is because a lot of the talents that work in sense of synergy with the builds are going to be completely changed. And with those changes, they are going to require different attributes for your character. For example, if you guys are running a 377 build, or my famous 577 build, those builds are still viable for right now, but once the brand new update comes out, you won't be able to run those builds. The reason is because some of the talents that we have suggested to you guys and brought it to your attention that you need to combine them with will no longer be viable, because either they will require less attributes or more attributes. So if you guys are noticing right here on my screen, I have my 577 build. I just tweaked it a little bit. Now it's 566. But this build right here is by far one of the best AR builds currently in the game. Now, a lot of these talents work very well in synergy, and you might have a build very similar or a little bit different based on your playstyle. There, you also might have other builds that are maximum DPS builds that also run around the 377 or the 577 for LMG or whatnot. But some of these builds, like I said, the talents work together. The brand new build we're going to be looking at is the following, guys. So we're going to be looking at this build called Update 3. Now, this build in particular, I'm going to go over exactly what we're changing and why we're changing. So I'm not going to go too much into specifics on weapon kind of talents or anything like that, because I will have, once the update goes live, I'll have builds for LMGs, for assault rifles, and SMGs working with the brand new talents. But reason I wanted to make this video live now is because you need to start farming right now. Yes, right now, for these armor sets, because they are very difficult to get, and some of the builds that we're going to be working on are going to be a bit crazy. Let me go ahead and change this for some. All right, so let's take a look at this build that I have right now on screen. So if you guys notice, there's a lot of changes that are happening here from the previous one that I had on the screen, which was the 577 one. You guys are looking at a 311.4 right now. So that's what you guys are looking at. That's because the current gear that I have was kind of almostly primarily focused on a 377 and a 577 build. Now, those builds were technically really good for maximum DPS and for being very tanky. Now, unfortunately, due to the changes of the buffs and nerfs that are coming to the talents, some of the talents that we're using to combine synergy within those builds have gone out the window. Now we got to work on a different build that's going to be more viable, and I'm going to walk you guys through on what you guys should be looking like to get and what you guys should be looking not to get. So the reason why this is so high, we got the 11 so high up there, is because there's a big change that's coming to a talent that's going to be very, very popular, and kind of one that you're going to definitely want to run, which is this one right here, which is called Unstoppable Force. Now, Unstoppable Force, currently right now, the way it reads, it says killing an enemy grants 2 weapon damage for every 1,000 max armor, and it requires 7. Now, that is what it reads right now, but once the update goes live, the requirement will no longer be 7, it's actually going to be 11. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, why do I want to run Unstoppable Force when I have a choice to actually run Berserk? Because Berserk gives you plus 10 weapon damage for every 10% of max armor depleted. Unfortunately, guys, I want to be the bearer of bad news, and some of you guys might already know this, but Berserker got a big time nerf, and it is no longer a viable perk, at least in my opinion. I think we're gonna Unstoppable Force is gonna be like your number one, and I'm gonna give you another one that's actually pretty good. Your number one to go perk when it comes to the chest piece. Now the big change that we see in Berserk is that now it's gonna read 10% weapon damage for every 20 max armor depleted. So as you guys notice right there, you're gonna that 10% is gonna go up to 20. It's no longer gonna require a shotgun or a SMG or an AR. But on top of this, it's going to require 11 or more red. So as you guys see right here, we're sitting on a 311. So in order for me to actually make Berserk work, I would actually have to have an 1111 and something else for the yellow, right? So it's going to be a very difficult mod to proc because you're going to be sacrificing some blue in order to get the Berserk perk to work. And unfortunately, just that stat alone is going to make me throw Berserk out the window. I mean, technically, we could have a build with a high armor output, but we're going to be suffering a lot in health and a lot in skill power. But I mean, we could make it work, but as of right now, I don't think it's going to be a very viable perk. So the two perks you're going to be primarily focusing on chest piece are going to be Unstoppable Force. That's going to be my number one suggestion. And the other one will be Unbreakable. Now, Unbreakable is a perk that actually got a buff. And you're probably wondering, that's actually amazing because we got a huge buff to Unbreakable. Currently, right now, it reads 25% of max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits used within the next 5 seconds are not consumed. Now, the big buff that got is instead of reading 25%, it reads 70% of your max armor is repaired when your armor is depleted. Armor kits now consumed within 7 seconds are not consumed. So that got an increase from 5 to 7. Now, the only thing with this one is that it also is going to require 11 blues for it to work. So you're going to need to have that 11. So that's the reason why you're seeing that 11 on the board right there. Because in order for you to run Unbreakable or to run Unstoppable Force, you're going to need that 11. So definitely 11 is the way to go. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, why aren't you currently have it in your set where you're running on, Unstoppable Force? Because I could always swap talents. It doesn't really matter. But that's going to be the main number one piece you're going to be looking for in your chest piece. You're going to want to make sure you have something that has Unstoppable Force or has Unbreakable. That's going to be for your chest piece. And right now, as the one that I'm really enjoying is the Gilligard. The Gilligard allows you to put in 3 modifiers. It allows you to put a 2 blues and 1 red modifier to that chest piece. Gives you a nice hefty balance. Another thing that you're going to want to make sure you guys are currently looking at, and I'm only going to pinpoint the ones that you guys should definitely be looking for, are knee pads. 100% guys, if you don't have a Gilligard knee pad, now is this time to start farming for a Gilligard knee pad. The reason why you want to be farming for these is because this is going to allow you to put 2 extra defensive attributes into your knee pads, and it is the only knee pad that's going to allow you to do that. Alright, so now that we got the chest piece out of the way, let's talk about the other one that you want to prioritize that you get, and that is a pair of gloves. You're going to want to make sure you have a pair of gloves with Compensated, because Compensated is going to play a crucial factor in synergy when it comes to this build. Now, Compensated says weapon damage is increased by 15% when your critical hit chance is below 20%. Now, this one went ahead and got a buff, and instead of reading what it reads now, it's going to read weapons damage is increased by 20% when your critical hit chance is under 15%, which is a very good kind of little tweak and little buff there, where Compensated is going to be your number one talent to go to when you're picking the gloves. So those are the 2 main things you want to be looking at when you guys are going to be preparing for a build. You want to make sure you have that chest piece that has a, that gives you those 2 perks, and hopefully it's a Gilligard because you're able to stack those attributes. You want to make sure you got the gloves that have Compensated. And number 3, you're going to be looking out for knee pads, which will have the Gilligard, because Gilligard is the only way you're able to get 2 more slots for your defensive attributes right there. That's going to allow you to hit that threshold of 11. Now, that's the main thing we want to do. We want to make sure we hit 11 on the middle column. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to make sure you're looking out for is a backpack with On the Ropes. Now, On the Ropes is another one that currently right now it says weapon damage is increased by plus 25 while all skills are on cooldown. Now this is going to be interesting because this also got a little bit of tweak. On the ropes will now require a total of 9 attributes instead of 7. So you're looking at a 3-11-9 build that's going to be our target when we're preparing builds. Now this is going to be interesting because on the ropes is going to provide us that weapon damage with also the one from our gloves, which is going to be compensated, giving us that nice weapon damage increase, pairing well with, of course, the one and only unstoppable force. Now, as of right now, these are the main ones you should be looking out for. Now, the next one we're going to be talking about is the mask. Now, the mask should be kind of your top priority because this is the one that you want to make sure where you're getting your damage to elite from. The one you're pulling the damage to elite, you want to make sure you have the mask with the highest damage to elite. Anything that you could do to either tilt the power to a little bit more skill power, you should definitely look out for a mask that gives you that advantage if you could find one. If not, just find anyone that gives you the highest number of damage to elites. Now you're probably wondering, Laser, you really didn't talk too much about the the holster or the backpack. Now the reason why I didn't want to address the holster too much is because the talents to the holsters are not getting that much of a nerf or a buff. So we're going to be using the holster primarily to give us damage for weapons or damage to elites. And we're also going to be using the backpack to give us a little bit more survivability or give us a little bit more DPS. Like I said, these are the things that I wanted to pinpoint to you guys so you guys can know exactly what to build towards. You're going to be wanting to shoot a target of 311. Those are the main ones you want to hit. I mean, primarily, if I had to pick it, I would definitely do like my favorite build. It would be a 3-11-11. As of right now, I don't have like the gear set to actually even hit the 11 on the skill mods, but if I did, that would be like your number 1 build, but I don't see that to be very viable. So I think 3-11 and maybe a 6 in the skill will probably be like your number 1 go-to or best build so far. But as of right now, the way it sits, I wanted to give you guys a quick reference point of what targets you want to hit when the new patch goes live. Now, the reason why I believe a 3-11 build is better than a 3-9 build, which would allow you to use on the ropes, is because 3-11 gives you the advantage of using unstoppable force. I believe that's going to be a such demanding talent, not only for PvP, but also for PvE, where it's almost going to be kind of like a requirement for you to actually have that talent activated. Now, I wanted to put out this video very fast and quickly because I know a lot of you guys are working on different builds. Like if you want a high DPS build, you're trying to get a AR build, an LMG build, and I don't want you guys to sit there and waste your time working on these builds when they're not going to be viable at all when in 2 weeks comes live. And you're probably trying to get ready for the raid. This patch might come at the same time the raid comes. It's better to have this working already and you getting familiarized and used to this build before the update comes and you're like, crap, my build is no longer viable when the raid comes out. So definitely go ahead, try out this build, work your way to get this build, get used to the build. And if you have any other suggestions on talents that you would think would work well synergy with a 3-11 build, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know, what do you guys think of the new nerfs and buffs that are coming to the game? Do you think it was actually a good idea for them to adjust the game to be more suitable and reduce the DPS and reduce the tanky build, currently right now, which is the meta in the game? Do you guys like what they're doing? Do you think they did this in order to bring up the majority of the gear sets in par with a regular build? Please let me know all that information in the comment section down below. I do hope you guys found this video helpful and informative. If you did, do me a huge favor, guys. Drop a like. Share this video with your friends. If you guys could please do that for me, because that does help me out a ton. Don't forget, guys, to stay up to date to everything The Division. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys can get updated when Division 2 videos go live. If you want to check more additional Division 2 content, definitely check out our Division 2 playlist. I have tons of video and information covering the Division and stuff that might be very helpful and viable for you to start farming this gear. If you have any questions regarding this video or the channel, hit me up on any of my social medias. The links are down below. Anytime you guys want to stop by, watch some fun gameplay, just enjoy yourself and have positive vibes, definitely stop by over on Twitch. We stream very frequently, so make sure you guys hit us up with that follow so you guys can get notified when we go live. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and don't forget WGATAP, and I will catch you guys on the next video.